When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The punk-ass podcast.
The what? Oh, punk-ass.
Yeah.
Snuck up on me.
Just like a good blowjob.
Did you hear that Steve-O got boobs?
What?
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
And we're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today...
Sorry, Steve-O got boobs?
Isn't Steve-O from that show?
Yeah, what's it called?
Jackass?
Jackass.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's true. That's just something the boyfriend said to me yesterday.
He gives you a lot of your news information.
Yeah. Jackass star Steve-O says he's getting a boob job.
Oh. Like to get, like, chesticles? Like...
He says that he is planning to undergo a breast augmentation.
Wow.
And he says he's getting a D cup.
Wow.
I don't know, man.
Is this real?
I don't know, man. Well, it's multiple outlets are reporting. I don't know if it's real or not, but he said it on a podcast.
Oh.
X5 podcast.
Why can't we get any kind of like buzz from like this person said on the Gayish podcast?
You just need to sign up for a sweet juicy rack, Kyle, and then everybody will talk about it.
Okay. I'm going to get a double D cup.
Great, yeah.
It's even bigger than
Steve-O.
Steve-O's.
Wait, what? Who are we? Where
I
are we
don't know.
here?
Let's talk about this now.
We already did the names part.
Did we?
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today we're not talking about Steve-O's future potential boobs.
No, we're not. We're
going to talk about, the Olympics.
The Olympics.
That's why we're here.
Right. Because the Olympics is starting soon?
Started?
Will
have started?
Will have had started?
Here we are.
I don't know.
When are they?
When are
it's the Olympics soon.
Yeah.
But first, here's the news.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
That felt abrupt, Kyle.
Off to a good start, Mike.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like this happened last week, and now here we are again.
Yeah.
I Joe Biden dropped out of the race. It's the biggest news story, just like Trump almost getting shot last weekend was the biggest story. And I just feel like I have to say something so that people know that I know. But we're not here to talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, Kamala Harris, I heart you. News the first. So in a recent episode of his online show, Tucker Carlson Today, comedian Ari Schaefer and disgraced former Fox News host Tucker Carlson had a candid conversation about Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Great.
And
dude, I don't care about his opinion about literally anything.
Well, I care about his opinion even less about this, but I want to talk about it.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Quote, Tucker Carlson said, quote, "Do you remember Pete Buttigieg ran for president? He's supposedly gay, and now he's Transportation Secretary. And I had one of my producers who's gay, and he goes, he's not gay."
What?
Carlson said. He continued. I was like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "No, that's complete bullshit. All gays keep very close track of that stuff." My producer's like, "No, it's totally a pose. He was dating women just a few years ago. That's totally fake. He's not gay at all." And
wow,
I don't know. I can't. Then what would the angle be? You know what I mean?
I don't know why you would pretend to be gay to get all that flack just for what? Publicity?
Like it has been a right-wing talking point for a while that like the kids just want to be gay because it's trendy and cool.
Right.
Like that's why you decide to put your penis in buttholes.
Right.
And I don't. Anyway, just like okay, whatever. But he's famously married to a dude, and they have kids. He came out in June of 2015. So Carlson said that he perceives it as political opportunism, and he clarified, if you can call this a clarification, quote, "It's not about being against gays. I'm saying he's not one." GLAAD spokesperson said, quote, right-wing extremists will stop at nothing to try to gain relevancy, including spreading disinformation about LGBTQ people. Carlson's long history of baselessly attacking Transportation Secretary Buttigieg and his family is ridiculous, dangerous, and only serves to fan the flames of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and violence. No matter their network affiliations, media commentators must be held to a higher standard.
To be accused of faking being gay when it's like being gay has done nothing but be difficult in my life. Like, why would I fake that?
Yeah. And I think there's some internalized homophobia, maybe. I don't know. I think that's why he shouldn't run for president. Like, I don't think that this country is ready for a gay president or vice president. And like, I just don't think the country's ready. We were barely ready for a black president. And look how that turned out.
Turned out real good.
It turned out real great, except like I think that all of this crazy is because people could not fucking handle a non-white president.
Yeah.
Anyway, just fucking weirdos, man. But yeah, I don't see how, especially politically, gay could be anything but a liability in today's climate. And to say that like you chose to be gay or you're not gay but you're pretending to be because that somehow wins you points in politics.
Yeah. To fake having a husband and 2 kids is a really long way to go. Some Hunger Games shit.
Hunger Games bullshit.
Yeah.
News the second. J.K. Rowling
Sure.
claims that she knows the best way to cure gender dysphoria.
Oh, she knows better than medical science?
Yeah, she knows better than medical science. She says, quote, the single best cure is letting nature take its course. She's saying puberty.
Oh, that's literally the opposite.
Puberty blockers should be banned, that it's bad for kids, that like she made the claim on X, dead name Twitter, quote, the vast majority of children grow out of gender dysphoria if allowed to go through puberty. The single best cure is letting nature take its course, which is incorrect.
I don't think that's true. I was going to say, I don't think that's true. Plus, a lot of cis people use puberty blockers as well.
Research has shown that transition-related regret was considerably lower than that which follows having children, abortions, or even knee surgery.
Wow.
On the whole, people do not regret transitioning.
Right.
And to claim otherwise is just irresponsible, dangerous horse shit.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do you think, okay, can you name a more virulent transphobe? And I don't mean like the opinions, but like the prominence and impact equation. Like, I think she's number one transphobe in the world when looked at a multi-factor like analysis that includes like how upset people are that she turned out this way, her fame, her the size of her platform.
Yeah.
I think
maybe is Dave Chappelle up there though?
I don't think so. Not anymore. Mm-mm. He's also not like continuing to open his fucking stupid mouth.
That's true. She's constantly spewing transphobia on X, formerly Twitter.
What a fucking bitch. Anyway, I wish I didn't have to keep talking about her, but I really think that we have to keep talking about her because I think that she's the number one dipshit fuckface asshole. Dickbag fuckface asshole.
Yeah. And it's nice when you can counter what she says with like the information that you have, which is the truth, so that people know how to counter claims like, oh no, that claim is unsubstantiated and here's the truth behind it.
Yep.
That's helpful.
Yep. All right. Fuck her.
Yeah.
News the last.
Great.
In what I think is the feel-good story of the week. Brittany Griner, the gold medal winning Phoenix Mercury center. She's a basketball player, if you don't know what that is, Gaze. And her wife, Sherelle, welcomed a son.
Oh.
The basketball star who is heading to the 2024 Paris Olympics this month, so it's topical, said that she and her wife married in 2019 and their son was born on July 8th. Griner said that she wants to be known as Pops to the little one, which that's a little gender play that I think is fun.
Yeah.
And they're just adorable. The pictures are adorable. Griner said, quote, it kind of sucks because I have to leave, but at the same time, he will understand. Well, he won't. He's a baby. He doesn't understand shit.
Nah, he doesn't know a goddamn thing. God, I mean, I get that it's feel-good story because of two people in love celebrating and growing their family, but like, should people be allowed to have kids?
Well, it's not that I'm against gays having children. I'm just against children.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's feel good because things have turned around for her so much. She was tried on drug charges, convicted, and sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison.
Yeah. And
was freed from a labor camp in December of 2022 after intense negotiations by the Biden administration, RIP. And but yeah. They met at Baylor, which is her alma mater. Both of them, their alma mater. And yeah.
Good for you.
Good for you for getting what you want. Lesbian.
Yeah.
Basketball player.
Yeah.
Non-Russian prison worker.
Thank God.
That's the news.
That's the news. Speaking of other people who are not Russian laborers, I want to thank the following new Patreon member. Thank you to Katie Johnson.
Katie, are we related?
I don't know.
There's so few of us.
Johnson, such a unique last name. Could be you're related. This is just familial support. If you want bonus episodes, bonus content, ad-free episodes a day early, a bunch of other cool shit, including me saying your name on an episode, and to support us. It's really nice when people support us. Mm-hmm. Go to patreon.com/Gayish podcast.
Do it. All right, you want to talk about the Olympics, Kyle?
Let's talk about the Olympics.
Well, first, do you watch the Olympics?
I don't.
I remember being obsessed when I was a kid. And 4 years seemed like forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know?
No, I don't even know how I can watch it. Like, can you watch it? Can you watch this on Hulu somehow or something?
How does TV work?
I don't know how to TV this. Maybe
is it streaming?
Yeah, that's like Hulu's gotten better at like streaming things like this. So maybe I could actually watch it now if I wanted to, but I don't. It's one of those things I feel like once you opt out for a couple years, then you're like, it's hard to care to get back into it.
Yeah. But like people are fucking into it.
Oh, like, people are so into it. Like growing up, we also like would have it on the background all the time when the Olympics were on.
Yeah.
And you know, my parents would watch some of the recaps or whatever. And yeah.
I graduated from high school in 1996, and that year was the Atlanta Olympics, and I was thinking about driving to them. At least I think that's right. Am I making that up? 96. The 96 Summer Olympics were in Atlanta, and then I was like, oh my God, it's so expensive to go. I was even in the 90s was way too poor to go, much less drive all the way to fucking Atlanta from Washington State.
Yeah.
But I remember at least at that time being like into it enough that I was like, here's the one thing I want to do with my summer.
Well, that would be like a cool thing. Even I would like be interested in going to see the Olympics in person if that were an option. Like I've gone to see Wimbledon in person, some like low level, not the main court game, just because it's like a thing that people do.
Was it dude tennis players?
No,
it
was a female.
Bummer.
Yeah. Why?
They're hot.
Oh, I mean, so are the women, but just not to me.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you care about the Olympics these days?
I don't.
Okay.
I just don't. Okay. And like
that's so great. Let's do an episode about it.
Sure. I mean, I'm not a sports gay.
Yeah.
I do think that it's like there are people who are not sports gays who can still be into the Olympics because they celebrate like not the sports that are like the crazy super rich, lots of sponsorships, you know, millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, your basketballs and footballs and baseballs. It's like other stuff, gymnastics and running, and like I think that there's more for people who aren't necessarily into other kinds of sports, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the history of the Olympics, Kyle.
All right, let's do it.
Great. It's the Greeks.
It's the Greeks. Yep.
I think we knew that, though.
Yep.
Traditionally, the Olympic Games started in 776 BC. That's a long time ago.
Long time ago. Longer than we've been alive.
Most people.
Than most
some
people.
would say. They were held every 4 years, and so much so that it became a unit of time. An Olympiad was a way that they would refer to a period of 4 years. Like, it was just an Olympiad ago when we were electing Joe Biden president. So there were fewer events than in the modern games, but they were famously naked, Kyle.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I would want to watch, like, I want to see some of these Olympians naked anyway. So, like, watching the best athletes in the world, I want to see their dicks.
Right? Like now.
Now.
Please, now.
Come on.
So the first Olympic champion was Koroibos of Elis. And so the first recorded Olympics was just one race.
Really?
It's just one race, the Stadion. And then that was the big one. Like, they did other events, but like winning the Stadion was like, that was the why we were there. That was the point or whatever. They added things like long distance racing and the pentathlon. Boxing was part of the 23rd Olympiad in 688 BC. But they weren't initially naked. There was this guy named Orsippus, and he was the champion of the 15th Olympic Games in 720 BC. But he is the first one that just got naked.
It wasn't a thing yet, and he just was like, I'm going to go naked instead?
Correct. It wasn't a thing yet. He just decided to go naked. And he said it was because it just felt easier.
Huh.
I don't know what gets easier when you're naked besides fucking. But apparently he thought this foot race was going to be. But he was, quote, the first of all Greeks to be crowned victor naked. And some other people say, though, that it was this other guy named Acanthus. But I bring it up every once in a while, Kyle, but we got to talk about like how gay the Greeks were.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Because they like did a lot of gay shit. So they had this whole thing about pederasty and mentorship, and it's where older men would mentor younger men by putting it in their butt.
Right.
And this was supposed to help prepare them to be strong, contributing male alpha bullshit members of society later on in life. But it was an arrangement where like you had to stop once the kid involved was past a certain age. So once they reached adulthood, you had to stop. But there's lots of evidence to suggest that many of those relationships did not stop. That they were still together, whether exclusively or within the confines of their own heterosexual marriages, and it was just a side thing. There were lots of these types of relationships that continued well past the time that they were supposed to have stopped because the younger one aged out.
God, this is such a hard thing to talk about because it's like, it's so uncomfortable. They were like clearly too young, and it was gay shit that they were doing, and it's proof that that gay shit is not brand new, but it's also gross because they're so young. It's just such a weird, uncomfortable place to be.
Yeah, well, and this is like our pedophilia episode. We need to make a distinction between pedophilia and ephebophilia, where like culture and law, these are things that change. And there are people who are pedophiles. They are attracted to children. Ephebophilia is like you've started puberty or well into puberty, and you're too young by our standards and by our legal standards, especially cultural standards. But like to be attracted to somebody is to be attracted to somebody with adult characteristics. They're just not. Their brain isn't fully cooked yet, and they're not done growing into what will be their adult body. And that I don't know. It feels icky to say, but that kind of mitigates what's happening a little bit.
I get what you're saying.
At least I think to me. It's not like here's your 6-year-old, mentor him and start banging him. That's not what was happening. These are teenagers, which is still gross, and I understand that, but it feels less gross than it could have been, or something.
I get what you mean.
I want to talk about the 13th ancient Olympic Games in 728 BC at Olympia, and Diocles of Corinth won that race, and then there's this wealthy aristocrat named Philiolaus who was also Corinthian, but the two of them hooked up and left Corinth and went to Thebes instead. And so there's a few things that are going on there. First is that they were, for all intents and purposes, out. Oh. And it was in Corinthian law, once Diocles grew facial hair, they were supposed to stop fucking, and they left and went to Thebes instead, rather than end their relationship. And they were more or less out together, but they lived together for the rest of their lives. And it's also a problem because Diocles, I guess his mom was also trying to bang him.
Oh no!
Not the aristocrat, but her son.
Oh no!
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as I can tell, though, this is the oldest example of an Olympic athlete in a committed same-sex relationship, and it's problematic gay identity, blah 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 blah. But like, they lived together for the rest of their lives. They were buried in tombs that were next to each other, and
they loved each other.
Yeah, although they were buried in a weird way because Diocles' back was pointing to Corinth to say like he had turned his back on where he came from, but Philiolaus was facing it. So they're right next to each other but pointing different directions because one of them is like, fuck Corinth, I don't want to be pointing that way when I'm buried.
Interesting.
Yeah, but they were for sure together, and he was an Olympic athlete and a champion and won the 13th Olympiad.
First gay Olympian.
First out gay Olympian. Well,
yeah.
Now, I have so much more gay shit to talk about in modern times, but the modern Olympics started in 1896. So they, the ancient Olympics basically like had phased out. Like they went away really slowly. After the Romans took over, they kept going, but like it wasn't nearly the same sort of cultural phenomenon that it had been for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years even. Yeah, so it was the 3rd century AD that saw the games sort of went downhill, and the games continued in one form or another past the year 385, by which time flooding and earthquakes had damaged the buildings, and barbarians had invaded, and Olympia got taken over by barbarians. And the last recorded games were held under Theodosius I in 393. That was the 293rd Olympiad. But apparently some evidence suggests that they went on a little bit further than that, but that was like the last hurrah for a lot of intents and purposes. So there's this big ass break then from the year 393 until we decided to bring them back in 1896, and we've had them every 4 years since then. And there's lots of gay shit, and I'll talk about that later.
Okay. Should I tell you some gayda?
I sure hope you will.
Okay. This is about the current Olympics, or current-ish Olympics. In the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, there were at least 186 out LGBTQ athletes.
Whew. I didn't think we had them in 2021. Oh, the pandemic. We moved them. That's why. Got it. Yeah. I'm caught up.
Yep. So this year for the 2024 Paris Olympics, they know of at least 144 out LGBTQ athletes. That number is expected to grow as we learn more about the athletes throughout the course of the Olympics, and should see more than that. But right now, at least, there appears to be a dip in the number of LGBTQ athletes. A couple reasons for that is they eliminated...
ice dancing or something.
They eliminated softball as an Olympic sport. So that was last year. There were 8 LGBTQ, presumably like lesbians that are no longer there. And the Swedish women's soccer team didn't qualify, which that was 4 people. So there,
I gotta imagine that for some segment of the population, sports lesbians, Swedish women's soccer team has got to be like just dripping wet after hearing that. Right?
Yeah, they love that phrase. Swedish women's soccer.
You're welcome, lesbians.
You love it. Of the 144 out LGBTQ athletes, more than 120 are women.
Okay.
Which that's a shit ton. That percentage is like most of them.
Yeah. And I guess that lines up with the whole thing of it's more acceptable for women to be queer, especially in like competitive spaces.
Yeah, and that sports are kind of a mask thing.
Yeah.
So like the mask stereotype means that it's more likely you'll be either a straight dude or a gay woman.
Yep.
The lesbians and other queer women represent half of 2 teams, the U.S. women's basketball team, where 6 out of 12 players are LGBT, and the Australian women's soccer team, where 9 out of 18 players are LGBT. There are 3 non-binary people competing, at least. And across all the participating countries, women's soccer is the queerest sport.
Okay. Is that because softball isn't on the list
I
anymore?
think probably. That would make sense, right?
Or I would also expect basketball to be like super
Basketball,
super lesbo, soup's lesbo.
Soup's lesbo, I would expect that one to be as well. According to Wikipedia, if you include the summer, the winter Olympics and the Paralympics, then at least 321 LGBT Olympians are medalists, which is 45% of LGBT Olympians.
Well, okay.
So if you want to pretend to be gay,
Yeah.
that's a good chance of getting a medal.
Yeah.
45% of
I don't think the pretending is going to help, though.
I think it will.
Right? You think the judges are like, oh, that one's gay.
Yep.
Give him more points in our hearts.
Suck some dick the night before.
If it's the right dick, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 149 have at least one gold medal. So that's 21%.
That seems high.
That seems very high.
Like, I wonder what the percentage is of like all Olympic athletes. How many have a gold medal? It's got to be less than 20.
It's got to be less than 20.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it pays to be gay in the world of sports.
Be gay.
Be gay.
Suck dick. Win medals.
Yeah. In that order. That's some of the gay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. What order do I want to do this in, Kyle?
I don't know, Mike.
Let's think about it.
Start from the beginning.
You want me to start from the beginning?
Oh, I don't know.
What year do you think the first out gay Olympic athlete competed?
1930. I don't know what. I can't do my math of 4s. 1936.
Okay. It's a fine guess. But it is wrong.
Okay.
It was the 1900 Olympics.
Wow.
So there's this dude named Marie-Joseph Robert Anatoly, Comte de Montesquieu Fezensac.
What a name. I knew
Fezensac.
I knew that was gay the moment you said the 10th name that he had.
Robert de Montesquieu is what he went by. And Robert, my boy Robert here is, my goodness, was a French aesthete, symbolist poet, painter, art collector, art interpreter, and certified dandy. And so dandy, which was often code for gay, referring to like effeminacy in dress and behavior, but also was like legit a lifestyle choice that earned its association with homosexuality through lots and lots of sodomy. yeah, he was a dandy, but he was also super duper gay. So in 1895, he began a close long-term relationship with Gabrielle. I don't know who that is. He was Argentinian, so it probably wasn't said with a French accent, which mine wasn't with a French accent either, because it's terrible. Gabrielle was from Argentina, and he became his secretary, companion, and lover.
Wow. In that order?
Yes. So, yeah. Anyway, in June of 1900, he finished third in the Hax and Hunter combined event during the International Horse Show in Paris, and later was classified as part of the 1900 Summer Olympics. So there's a little asterisk there. He participated in an event that later the Olympics were like, yeah, that was the Olympics too.
We usurped this event and made it ours.
But he was out. He was out. It was not a secret, especially in France, which was more permissive towards such things. There's this whole like turn of the century, which it's fin de siècle in French. I don't know. I can't speak French. Everybody, don't at me. Every time somebody writes me and is like, never speak French again.
It's pronounced fin de siècle.
But there was this. It's really interesting to study a little bit the like relationship between what was happening in 1899 and 1999, like similar like dread of what's going to happen when we enter a new century, and like this sort of nothing matters upheaval of like behavior. And there was like a lot of gay shit that was happening at the turn of the century in 1900, and this whole movement around what they call degenerate theory or degeneration theory, and I just think it's really interesting. Oscar Wilde is apparently like part of that whole thing also, and I bring him up just because Robert, my buddy Robert de Montesquieu, the Olympic athlete, apparently his boyfriend, Montesquieu and his boyfriend and Oscar Wilde were like at the very least acquainted with each other. Ooh. And that the picture Dorian Gray that Oscar Wilde wrote, apparently the gay character, the gay stuff in those books was at least partially based on this couple.
Oh.
Anyway.
Were they a threesome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Can I prove it? No.
But I said it.
So it's true. Anyway, yeah, pretty wild. Now we have to talk about the 1936 Olympics, which was your guess.
Yeah.
The 1936 Olympics had a whole bunch of gay stuff, queer stuff that happened. So a couple of things. First, let me back up a little bit. There was this swimmer from Austria named Fritzi Löwy in the 1928 Olympics, and she was bi. So she never married and had a partner who was a lady. So if you don't count my good buddy Robert, I'm going to not bi erase her and say that she's the first queer out Olympic athlete. But really, I think the first queer Olympic athlete that we want to talk about is Otto Pelzer. So he was openly gay, was German, and in the Weimar Republic, which we've talked about before as being this sort of like weird little enclave of acceptance of queer stuff that happened in Germany pre-World War II. And so he ran in the 1928 Olympics and he did not win any medals in that, but he held the world record for he was a middle distance runner who set world records in the 1920s. So he, in London in July of 1926, ran the 800 meters and got a world record. And then in the 1,000 meters, he ran a world record in Paris. So even though he didn't win an Olympic medal, he went to the 1928 Olympic Games in Amsterdam. Here's the thing. There's this whole story, too, about the 1932 Olympics, which apparently was in Los Angeles, which that seems like a weird place to go in 1932, but apparently that's where they were. And the Germans were like super stingy with the money for their team. So then they showed up with these like huge ass spiked cleat shoes, and the asphalt was so hot or so hard in Los Angeles they couldn't run. And so all of the non-spiked running shoes in Los Angeles were bought out by other teams. So then one of the teams, I think it was the Finnish team, they got a grinder, not like the dating
grinder,
app, but these like metal grinder things to grind their cleats down so that they could run on this really hard surface. So then the German team was like, can we have one of those too? And so the German dudes brought them like nail files, like metal nail files, like nail them, like grind them down yourself.
Yeah.
Not with a machine. Anyway, whatever. They did really, really terrible in 1932 in LA, and it was because of all of this shit. In 1933, he joined the Nazi Party, but at some point they found out that he was gay. Again, he was out. And in June of 1935, he was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment for homosexual offenses with youths.
Oh. And
they released him early on the condition that he would never be involved in sports again.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But he was rearrested in 1937 because he didn't listen and was coaching. So then he left and went to Denmark and Finland, and they said that was okay as long as he didn't speak poorly against the German government, the Nazi government. And then they sent him some news and said that we will drop all of the charges for you if you just come home in 1941. And when he came back in 1941, they immediately arrested him and sent him to a concentration camp.
Oh my God. What assholes.
He was in that concentration camp until 1945 when the camp was liberated.
Wow.
So just a really, really interesting dude. But I think we sort of forget, we've said this before, that like Stonewall was not when all of this shit started, right? We didn't come up out of the ground in 1969. We've had levels of being out and fighting for rights well before that.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I want to talk about before we move on is the 1936 Olympics and all of the trans stuff that was happening there.
Oh, interesting.
Which is hard to talk about because vocab is weird.
Right.
But so there was this runner named Zdeněk Kubek, who was from Czechoslovakia. And history and pronouns and vocab is hard, Kyle. He won 2 medals at the 1934 Women's World Games. So he was assigned female at birth, became a track star, competed as a woman, and won 2 medals at the 1934 Women's Games. So then there was this big controversy because he, quote, started to feel more and more like a man, and in 1935 announced his retirement from track and field, announcing his intention to live as a man, and underwent, quote, a series of medical examinations and genital surgery. What that means in 1935 is a little hard to say.
I'm intrigued. I know you're not supposed to ask about trans people's surgeries, but I really am curious what those were.
Yeah. But had his name officially changed to Zdeněk Kubek instead of Zdena or Zdenka, which was his dead name, and lived as a man for the rest of his life. Died in 1986. But what's interesting is later it was determined, as a part of all of those examinations and then this corrective surgery, they called it corrective surgery because he was diagnosed as intersex and was assigned female at birth, but had ambiguous genitals that then they surgically made him male. But that kicked off this really wild and eerily similar sounding to what's going on today, like a witch hunt. All of a sudden, everybody is like, "Where are all of the chicks that are actually dudes?" Is what the like community started doing,
right?
And so then, in the 1936 Olympics, There was, I forgot, there was another one. There was another one leading up to the 1936 Olympics. At the 1926 Women's Games, Mark Weston, who was born Mary Louise Edith Weston, won national champion in women's javelin, discus, shot put, but Mark Weston ultimately, it was determined, was intersex, was born with both. And so those two cases, Mark Weston was also not an Olympian, but that kicked off this sort of witch hunt for intersexed athletes who were competing as women. And so then there's Helen Stevens, who was an American athlete and an Olympic champion in 1936, was accused of being a man. Oof. And leading up to the 1936 Olympics, the IOC, the Olympic Committee, said that anybody who called for one could ask for women to undergo genital inspection to make sure that they were actually a woman.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I mean, I can, because it's what Republicans want right now in high school fucking...
That's true, just to get to the bathroom.
So she was declared to be actually... She was cleared for competition, and then at the 1936 Olympics met Adolf Hitler. She said, quote, "He comes in and gives me the Nazi salute. I gave him a good old-fashioned Missouri handshake." She said, "Once more Hitler goes for the jugular vein. He gets a hold of my fanny and begins to squeeze and pinch and hug me. And he said, 'You're a true Aryan type. You should be running for Germany.'"
Wow.
So after he gave me the once over and a full massage, he asked me if I'd like to spend the weekend in Berchtesgaden. She refused.
Good Jesus Christ, I can't imagine.
But yeah, he grabbed her genital region
Grabbed by the pussy
to like make sure that she was a she, and then hit on her and said, "Let's go bang." Like,
wow,
what a fucker. Now, she was a lesbian. She turned out to be a lesbian and was with her longtime partner of Mabel Robbie. But then Stella Walsh was another woman who was accused of being a man at the 1936 Olympics and challenged under this new ruling that it was okay to challenge female athletes and have them undergo an examination. Now, she was also cleared to compete, which is sort of, I don't know. I don't know enough about intersex bodies, and I don't know enough about the biology involved, but she was allowed to compete, and in both the 1932 and 1936 Olympics. And then after the Olympic Games, she moved to the U.S., resumed her amateur career. She won American national championships in the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the discus, the long jump. She became an American citizen in 1947, married aviation draftsman Harry Olson in 1956, and she continued to use the name Stella Walsh Olson for the rest of her life. And so she, in 1980, there was a Polish basketball team that was visiting, and she was buying ribbons for a welcoming ceremony for them in Cleveland when she was killed during an armed robbery.
Wow.
Just like,
what a weird way to go after that.
Wrong place in the wrong time, I guess. Yeah. But the autopsy from that death showed that she was intersex. And she had a male reproductive system, including a non-functioning penis, an abnormal urethra, small testes, and a small prostate. She lacked female sex organs, such as a vagina, uterus, or ovaries. She had genetic mosaicism, meaning that most of her cells contained XY chromosomes, but some contained a single X chromosome, which happens. Sometimes you can have two genomes in the same biological body.
Interesting.
Cuyahoga County Coroner Samuel Gerber said that she was socially, culturally, and legally a woman, but that her sex would have been ambiguous at birth. But yeah, it's super, super interesting character. But so there's this, like, at least 4 examples of athletes who were intersex. We didn't really have the language or the medicine to talk about these people's lives. and because they were assigned female at birth, competed in women's sports, and some of them did quite well, all the way up to like Olympic level athletes. And so the queer history of Olympic sport mostly leads to intersex and trans folks.
It's wild how it's replaying itself these days. Like, this outrage is not brand new. Like, the discussion about trans people and their bodies is not new.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. God, I have so much more, but whatever. That's enough for now.
What do you want to do for Patreon?
I don't know.
Do you want to talk about Caitlyn Jenner for Patreon?
I don't want to talk about her at all, but like
we can skip her.
We can talk about her at Patreon. Sure.
Because then I can talk about the gay games.
Yeah, let's talk about the gay games.
Okay. So these are if you search on Wikipedia for the Gay Olympics, the disambiguation, it suggests Eurovision. It suggests a couple other things that are, but the gay games is most likely referring to, or the Gay Olympics is most likely referring to the gay games, which were originally called the Gay Olympics. The Olympic Committee sued them to bar them from using the name Gay Olympics, which makes sense. Like, at first I'm like, yeah, of course, like, you can't just call anything the Olympics, but apparently they were at the time calling anything the Olympics. Shamie Kramer, a swimmer who co-led Team Los Angeles in the first gay games, said there were Rat Olympics, there were Xerox Olympics, there were Police Olympics. You could have an Olympics for anything, but heaven forbid you should be gay or lesbian. So it did seem like a targeted thing that they went after, just because it was gay and lesbian.
I wonder then, though, if they also went after all of those other things in an effort to at least appear impartial.
Oh, yeah.
Or not.
Yeah.
It just seems like out of one side of your mouth to be like, you can't use the word Olympics, faggots, and then also say, but like Xerox Olympics, you're fine.
Yeah. My ride's here.
They're headed to the Police Olympics.
So the first one took place in 1982 in San Francisco from August 28th to September 5th. San Francisco was the first host because it was the home of the founder, Tom Waddell. Waddell.
Yeah.
They had local support from the government and other essential services, and there's a large gay and lesbian population.
Yeah, Tom was on my list of people to talk about, actually.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, just he competed in the 1968 Olympics for the United States and did this whole thing with the Gay Olympics and then and died of AIDS.
Yeah. Oh, there you have it. There were over 1,350 competitors from over 170 cities worldwide.
Imagine that orgy. My goodness.
That I know that the Olympics is like there's just a giant orgy afterwards.
They're trying to put the kibosh on that too.
Are they really?
Yeah. They're like,
what are they doing?
I don't know. They're trying to prevent the athletes from banging each other. I'm trying to remember what all the protocols they put into place were, but there's this whole list of like shit that they can't do, and fuck it is one of them.
Let them fuck. I mean, come on.
Right? It's
like hottest, strongest people out of anywhere ever.
Let the Olympians fuck.
Let them fuck. This is my new platform. But to make sure they were achieving diversity and inclusion, the first organizers created outreach committees to recruit athletes from minority groups, including people of color, women, and rural lesbians and gays, which like the modern organizations could probably take a lesson from them.
Don't just focus on the cis white dudes.
Yep. And the opening ceremony began with former Olympians lighting a flame that had been carried on a torch run across America, beginning at the Stonewall Inn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like legit.
It's so far.
So far.
How long did that take?
So much running.
from Stonewall to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Let's face it, probably the Castro. That's like
Yeah.
very far.
That's very, very far. I run 2 miles and I'm like, whew.
Yeah.
Tina Turner performed at the opening ceremonies.
Did she now?
Yeah. Wikipedia credits her as singer Tina Turner. Just,
Known singer.
yeah. Because Waddell disliked the nationalism of other sporting events like the Olympics, the participants represented their cities rather than their countries, and competitive elements like medal tallies, medal ceremonies, and recording athletic records were banned.
Oh God.
Which that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like let's make it about being gay, not about competition.
Yeah,
That's I don't know.
but it's definitely about competition because it's like I don't know. And Rick Thaumann, a track and field athlete who competed in the first gay games, said, quote, "You were either a drag queen or in the leather community. Those were the stereotypes that were presented to the public at the time."
At the time, I think it's still what everybody thinks.
Sorry. Yep. Sorry, Rick. That hasn't changed too much. They never thought that we were able to be athletic and be gay at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those like really useful things to help prove that gay people can do more than be drag queens or, sing to our pop divas or be femme. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but also there's like a more holistic version of what it means to be a gay person and what you can be as a gay person.
Yeah.
That you can demonstrate.
Yeah. That reminds me of this story. Well, now I have 2 stories to tell you. Okay, we'll start with this guy. So there was a figure skater from England named John Curry.
Okay.
And he won gold at the 1976 Winter Olympics in Austria, Innsbruck, Austria. And reporters caught wind of his sexuality from an article published in the International Herald Tribune. And they cornered him at a press conference and grilled him on a bunch of stuff like, who are you fucking? Ugh. And so they said basically, how can you compete at this level of athleticism and be gay? The implication being that if you're gay or actually gay or really gay, then like you're less of a man.
Yeah.
How is this possible? How do you reconcile all of that? And he said, quote, "I don't think I lack virility, and what other people think of me doesn't matter. Do you think that what I did yesterday was not athletic?" It is funny to say to somebody who has a gold fucking medal that they shouldn't be good at sports because they're gay.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a wild thing. Person sitting in the crowd that has never done anything that athletic in their life.
Right. Yes. And I saw just talking about this idea that like you're either a leather daddy or a drag queen, and none of those are athletic. And challenging that by putting these gay games together is like that is just on the heels of this John Curry guy, in the late 70s, having all of that happen to him at a press conference.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Quick aside.
Okay.
I also need to talk about. I talked a lot about early athletes who were out. But there are people who were athletes who competed in the Olympics who were never out, but then like came out later or were confirmed to be out later. And so I have to talk about George Pogue, who is the first black Olympic medalist. He won 2 bronze medals in the 1904 Olympics. And he was also gay. So there were black activists that wanted a boycott of the 1904 games in which he competed because they happened in St. Louis, and St. Louis was segregated at the time. And the idea was like, if they're going to force all of the black folk to be on one side of town while all of the white people are enjoying the Olympics on the other side of the town, black people shouldn't go to participate in, watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
And he felt that it was important that he compete, in part because of visibility for black people. And then he won these medals. And After his success, he moved to the city to teach, but rumors of him being gay were prevalent, followed him around everywhere he went, and was probably the reason that he was fired from one of his teaching jobs.
Oh, wow. Especially teaching is rough being gay because there's some witch hunts that happen there.
Yep, and he never came out, but his family confirmed that he was gay after he died.
Mm-hmm.
So George Pogue is first Black Olympic medalist, but also was at least his family confirmed that he was gay. He just was never out about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, God, what else, Kyle? Who else do I need to talk to you about? Do you remember Greg Louganis? Are you old enough to remember Greg Louganis?
Yeah, I remember the name. That's about it.
So hot. But his whole thing was like, not only was he gay, we found out that he was gay because he was diagnosed with HIV, and he was confronted with that. And then there was the Olympics. I think it was the Olympics, or maybe it was just a trial. Doesn't matter. He was a diver, hit his head on the diving board and bled in the swimming pool. And suddenly there was like, are all of the divers going to get AIDS from, because we didn't know how it worked that well. And there's still so much stigma associated with it. And that poor guy, yeah, so hot. Anyway, but he didn't come out until the opening ceremonies of the 1994 Gay Games.
Oh, no way.
He spoke at the opening ceremonies and said, "Welcome to the Gay Games. It's great to be out and proud."
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, okay. Let's end with something fun.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which is the gayest Olympic sport, Kyle? Let's break it down. Summer versus winter.
Oh. I wrote down my top 5 gayest, but I didn't change that based on summer or...
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Don't have to.
My number 5 is women's soccer.
Women's soccer. Okay, you're starting with the lesbo energy right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. 4 is...
Okay, do you watch women's soccer?
No. I just know that lots of lesbians.
Who does Megan Rapinoe play for?
Doesn't she play for Seattle?
In what capacity?
As a soccer player?
Great. We did it. We're so good at sports.
I don't know. I don't know, Mike.
Great.
Number 4 is male gymnastics.
Yeah. That's my number 3.
Oh, yeah. My number 3 is women's basketball.
Yeah, for sure. Brittany Griner.
Yep.
Congrats on motherhood.
Yep.
Papa. Or what was it, Papa? She said Pops.
Pops.
She wouldn't be called Pops.
Number 2 is figure skating.
Yeah. Adam Rippon. Like, we all knew that he was going to exist before he existed, right? Johnny Weir sort of paved the way for him, and Brian Boitano.
Okay.
But like, gay as hell.
Yeah. Soup's gay.
Soup's gay. Okay.
And my number 1 is that luge thing where they lay down on top of each other.
Yes. 4-man luge.
I don't know.
I love that in 4-man luge, there's like the one guy that really doesn't have to do anything.
You just have to lay there.
Yeah.
It's like being a bottom.
Yeah. Just lay there.
Just lay there. Just lay there and wait for everyone else.
Don't upset the apple cart.
Don't. What about you?
So I went slightly different tack. I think number 5 for me is diving.
Oh.
And that's mostly just because of the gay history of diving. Greg Louganis, who we just talked about, Tom Daly, that twink gayed up the sport like 1,000,000%. And I like to think because he's with Dustin Lance Black, who's like 20 years older than him, that means there's hope for my boyfriend and I. And they're an adorable kid, and he knits, and he's hot.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah. He really brings out the dom top energy in me. I don't like...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Then number 4, figure skating. Johnny Weir, Adam Rippon. We talked about them. For me, number 3 is gymnastics.
Okay.
And then number 2, I think, is synchronized swimming.
Oh, I didn't consider that one.
It's so campy.
Yeah.
And like, it just seems, I don't know. I can't put my finger on one.
Yeah,
But it just seems like super duper gay.
I get you.
And number one is wrestling, Kyle.
Oh.
There's no way it's not.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I stand by my loose thing, but I get the wrestling thing.
It's just inherently homoerotic.
It's so homoerotic. It's so hard to believe how homoerotic wrestling is.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I do think I want to say honorable mention because I'm making a joke, the biathlon.
Okay.
Which is just skiing and shooting.
It's two athlons. They love both athlons.
Yeah, exactly. And another honorable mention for ice dancing.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Those are the gayest Olympic sports, Kyle.
I love it.
We want to hear what your gayest Olympic sports are,
Yeah.
everybody. Did I miss any? Dressage comes to mind, maybe?
Yes. Is that an Olympic sport?
It used to be.
Oh.
It used to be. And the reason I know it used to be, I'll tell one more story. Robert Dover, who did dressage with Gunter Seidel, won bronze in 2004. And that was the 6th time that he represented the United States at the Olympics. It was during his second games in 1988 that he came out, becoming the first openly gay athlete to compete in the modern Olympics, which is incorrect. But in 1988, that's pretty early to be totally out and not outed.
Yeah.
He chose to come out and came out. And he said at the time, quote, "I wish that all gay athletes would come out in all disciplines, football, baseball, the Olympics, whatever." Oh, no, it wasn't wasn't at the time. This was in 2004. After 6 Olympics, I know they're in every sport. You just have to spend one day in the housing, the gyms, or at dinner to realize we're all over.
We're everywhere. Even if, the fact that there are no out, insert name of professional sports team, like, it's just not true.
Yeah, it's just not true.
Yeah.
Did we do it?
Are the Olympics gay? They're gayer than I thought.
So gay.
Yeah.
Like, been gay since they started.
Yeah.
It came out of ancient Greece, which that means butt sex, and then like there were gays and intersex and trans folks and lesbians, and just from the very beginning, the turn of the century, 1900, Kyle.
Yeah.
Gay as hell.
Super gay. Okay, Olympics, super gay. We've declared it.
Also, what about the opening ceremonies when that hot greasy boy walks by with that flag?
Oh,
I think that's the gayest event.
Yeah,
the opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll watch the opening ceremonies.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
Okay. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Gold medal break.
I give you a gold medal, Kyle.
Well,
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
So are we back?
we're back.
We're back.
We're gonna do our gayest and straightest.
We're gonna do our
Ba-ba-da-ba-da-da.
We're gonna do our gayest and straightest, but first,
But first, a couple announcements.
yes,
Yes. Enthusiastic. I like it. Our 400th episode is coming up.
hey, everybody, listen,
Hey, buddies.
fuckers.
Our 400th episode is coming up.
400, Kyle.
That's so many episodes, so much talking.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of us.
That's why we can never run for office.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be evidence somewhere in there. But we are doing a Q&A episode like we do every 50 episodes.
Every 50 episodes,
And
since the beginning.
And we're doing a live stream on August 18th at 2 p.m. Pacific. That's 5 p.m. Eastern. So join us there, hang out with us while we record the episode.
Yep.
And then big announcement is that fucking Dan is going to join us.
Yeah, he is.
You all ask about him all the time
Ask him yourself.
now. And so we need your questions either for fucking Dan or for all of us.
We're gonna let Derek talk too.
Yes,
So-
Derek's going to be there talking. So ask your questions for fucking Dan, for Derek, for us.
Send your questions to gayishpodcast +400 at gmail.com. If you put the +400 on there, it'll send it to a super secret spot so that we won't see them. Derek will see them, but he needs all the help he can get. So we'll let him get the secrets.
Get the secrets in advance.
But Gayish Podcast plus 400 at gmail.com for all of your questions for the 400th episode.
Yeah,
Put on
Gayish.
there who you want to have answer it, whether it's me or Kyle or Derek or Dan, fucking Dan, or any combination thereof. If you don't put that on there, then we'll just assume it's for all of us.
Yeah. And that's Gayish Podcast and the plus sign 400 at gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's correct.
Jesus.
Oh, and yeah, that live stream, put it on your calendar. It'll also be on our socials this Sunday, August the 18th at 2 p.m. Pacific. Also, the podcast awards.
Oh, right.
We're working hard to lose again.
Can't wait to lose again.
The 8th time in a row.
We're the most regular losers.
Yes. But the podcast awards are happening right now. So if you want us to not lose, you're probably going to be disappointed. But you can go to podcastawards.com and try to get us there.
Yeah. Yep. You have to, even if you made an account before, you have to sign up for a new account because they delete their records. And if you want to sign up to be a listener, a judge, and then vote for us if you get selected.
Yeah. Been edging for 8 years now, so you should see the load if we win. Great.
Yeah.
Well, our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on socials at Gayish Podcast, or you can check out our Discord or Facebook or other communities at gayishpodcast.com/contact.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails, is 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply.
Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address that I have not been to since May is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109.
Gayest and Straightest?
Let's do our Gayest and Straightest.
Okay, I'll go.
Great.
My Gayest has been listening to the new Kesha song,
Yeah?
Joyride,
Yeah? Okay.
so much. It's so good.
Is it joyful?
It's joyful.
Have you been writing while you listen to it?
I've been on my own joyride of sorts.
I want to take a ride on your disco stick.
What is a disco stick? And
It's a blinged penis.
Oh, blinged.
Mm-hmm.
No, this song is called Joyride, and it's
Great.
really good, and I like it.
Great.
My straightest is I buy pear halves, like canned pear halves,
Okay.
and then I just eat them out of the can.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Yeah,
That seems...
that's a straight thing to do.
Yeah.
Eating them out of the can instead of pouring them into a receptacle that you then eat.
Eating anything out of the package you bought it
Yeah.
is... yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Well, so the gayest thing about me this week is I'm getting ready to go to Puerto Vallarta with the boyfriend and just Googling all the gay shit. Just being like best go-go bar, Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, just gay events, PV. These are all things that are in my Google history because I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I should have lots of local gay bar reviews when I get back, though, because there's like a fuck ton of gay bars there.
Ooh, that'll be exciting.
And then the straightest thing about me this week is going with the boyfriend to a Buddhist dancing festival to support one of my coworkers and eating corn. They had corn on the cob in big like things and eating those. It just felt... Because gays don't eat, much less carbs in public.
Right.
You know, yeah. We have a listener's Gayest and Straightest.
We do.
This week is from our friend, compatriot, dirty boy, Black Rambo on Discord, Brandon Pettigrew.
Hey guys, it's Brandon calling in. Just wanted to, give my Gayest and Straightest. So I guess my straightest this week is we started getting irritated with our TV quality. So just decided out of the blue, let's go buy a 75-inch TV and put it in the bedroom. That shit is big as fuck. But we mounted it for the first time ourselves, which I feel like is pretty straight. Cause I would have probably just told somebody just come over here and put the shit up for me. But yeah. And then the gayest was using some magnetic nipple tuggers that I bought from Fort Charles, to locate the studs in the wall. So I just ran it across the wall and then it just stuck to one of the screws, I guess, that was inside the wall. But yeah, it was just a gay mess to get all that together. But I guess a bonus gayest as well is exploring being a dirty content creator on Twitter. And yes, I'm still gonna call it Twitter. You can suck it, Elon. But yeah, doing that with my husband, that it's been an interesting adventure. And yeah, if you know, you know. So I'm sure y'all have seen the things, but yeah. So that's all I got. Have a good day, episode, whatever's going on, and peace out.
Of all the things I support being a size queen about, I'd say televisions are right up there.
Oh, you have the biggest television.
Yeah.
But way to go using your nipple magnets or whatever.
It's inventive.
Yeah. Very MacGyver-esque.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you to MacGyver
Yeah.
for that reference. And thank you to all Olympians except for Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the gay ones.
Especially the gay ones, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. And thank you to our super gap bridgers. Thank you to Locomotive, Kaylee Adams, Kit Oliver, Kobe Gordon, Squaggle, Pip, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crawley, Yost Osel, Jonathan Montanius, Forrest Nail, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Cubbington, Just Jamie, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. That's it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you. There's no Olympics for podcasting.
I mean, there is. We just lose them every year.
That's true.